Are you looking to do deals and master flipping houses? Welcome to the DoDeals Show with our host, Mr. Tim Mai. As a successful investor and mentor to many real estate investors, Tim's students consistently run 6- and 7-figure investing businesses. Each week, you'll hear from top real estate investors who share the best strategies, systems, and secrets that you can use to be more successful. Tim and his guests will pull back the curtain for you to learn their exact tactics, tricks, and tools that are working best right now in today's real estate market. Now, let's welcome Mr. Tim Mai.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another interview. This is your host, Tim Mai. Today, I have Dave Brown on the line with us. Dave is an SEO ninja. He is out there doing deals in the New York area. He also teaches other investors how to do what he does, especially around search engine optimization, how to get leads on the internet, off of Google and other search engines for free, right? So really excited to have you on this interview with me, Dave.
Great to be here, Tim. Pleasure.
Awesome. Great. Well, Dave, let's start out with, how did you get into real estate investing? What got you interested in this business?
Oh, man. Should I keep the story short, or do you want the whole? Well, I was in the restaurant business for 13 years when I got out of college. I've been self-employed or working for commission ever since I got out of college. And, you know, my daughter was about ready to be born in about 2 months, and I was still in the restaurant business, doing nights and weekends, and it was time for a change. I wanted to be home to tuck her into bed and to be able to spend the time I wanted to spend with her instead of pouring drinks and dealing with, maybe people who've had too much to drink. And so I was always interested in real estate, and lo and behold, a good friend of mine recently got his license. I got my license because I thought that was the best way to get started into real estate, when ultimately I really wanted to invest and learn how to flip houses. And so, I didn't know any better. I just thought I needed to go get my license. So that's what I did. And I kind of got sidetracked because I ended up being, your traditional agent, and worked the whole retail business for a number of years. Was very successful. When the housing market collapsed, I ended up being an REO broker for a couple of years. So I was working directly with banks. I did over 50 short sales with my business partner at the time.
Oh, wow.
Helping homeowners out of bad situations here in New York, which was, I think I lost a little bit of hair on the back of my head.
No, we all did. I got a bunch of gray hair from doing all those short sales.
Yeah. And in New York, is the most lenient foreclosure state in the country. It's like 400 plus days, the process. So I had clients that were 2 years, where they didn't pay their mortgage, and were struggling to get these deals approved. And so I think that really took a drain and toll on me. And it was right around then that I discovered one of my mentors, and started getting a little more serious about the investing side and the wholesaling side.
I see.
And I always gravitated towards the internet, as far as building websites, and I was just intrigued how people were making money off of the internet as far as information products and things like that. And so I started dabbling around with that, and then I started applying that into my real estate business with building our own real estate website. And it wasn't too long after that chance meeting with my mentor that, lo and behold, I generated one of my first online leads from someone saw a local Google Places ad that I had, and that ended up being a $35,000 wholesale deal.
Nice. Awesome. And, wow.
Obviously when something like that happens, it kind of builds momentum.
Yeah, no kidding.
And you get the bug, and my business has kind of grown and taken off, and kind of reinvented itself since then. So
that's awesome. Wow. And so obviously ever since then, you just really focus in on getting good with the search engine optimization, and expanded on that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So about 2.5 years ago, so for a while, in between where I was still an agent, I got hit by the housing collapse pretty hard myself.
Gotcha.
So I was using the skills that I developed as far as building websites and things like that. So I started helping other investors build websites. I was doing custom WordPress sites for other investors because I was already in that niche, and I met a lot of people through networking and some of the other education programs I'm involved with, so on and so forth, masterminds, whatever. And then I decided, I'm spending way too much time on that stuff when I could be focusing more of that time on my business. So 2.5 years ago, I went full throttle in really attacking my local market because I saw an opportunity there, like an opening. I didn't see anyone really doing the online part of it as far as search engine optimization all that well. And I didn't see that there was a lot of competition for it. So I thought if I really dedicated myself over a certain period of time in creating content, so this is all about content creation and about marketing,
right,
that I could really get a leg up and beat everyone to the punch. And that's exactly what I did. I basically, for 6 months, all I did every day was worked on content, publishing new content, city-specific pages. So I was targeting very specific towns, cities, counties that I'm in, state in general, all around content that are laden with specific keywords that sellers are actually typing into the search engines.
Gotcha.
And I did that for about 6 months straight. I mean, I still continually produced content, but that was the big splash that I made. And that really shifted my business from where I wasn't chasing leads anymore. People were actually finding me, right? It was attraction marketing at its best. People would go in and they would say, I need to sell my house fast, or I have an inherited home in Fishkill, whatever, and my website would pop up. So what I love about that whole process as far as the online part is that prospect is pre-qualifying themselves through that whole I mean, if someone's going to the search engine and typing in sell my house fast,
right,
I mean, they're a motivated seller. And by the time they hit my website and fill out a form, now instead of a cold lead, I have a very warm prospect who's just giving me a bunch of their information and pre-qualify themselves by going to Google search.
Right.
And so that I just found really powerful and addictive. And I'm like, well, look, if I can do this once, I should be able to generate more leads this way. And that became my focus.
Wow. Okay. So, when it comes to technology in general, and then even more specific with, SEO, search engine optimization, it can be intimidating for some people, and it seems difficult. Is it difficult, or is it something pretty easy? It's just mostly about, knowing, what kind of content to post that would, that the search engine would like. I mean, speak into that, please.
Well, what I was taught was do what you do best and delegate the rest, right? So I would say to people who are listening to this is know who you are, like know what your strengths are. So if you gravitate, like I did, towards technology and the internet, then go with that. And, there's going to be a learning curve there in time in terms of, learning how to set up a website. If you're going to set up a website on your own, I would use WordPress as a platform. There's a lot of great plug and play systems out there for real estate investors.
Oh, okay.
Where you could pay a monthly fee and get a website set up for sure. But there's going to be definitely some additional things that you're going to have to do on your own. But if you're not comfortable with anything on the tech side, again, you could plug into one of those third-party programs. You could outsource things through VAs, hire a local person to kind of help you who knows what they're doing. But as far as content, again, I mean, you could write your own content based upon your business, outlining what your value proposition is to your prospects, and kind of rehashing that in articles, being specific to your local area, and using keywords. which are basically specific keywords or phrases that someone might type into, say, Google. But if you're not good with content, I mean, you can outsource that too today.
Gotcha.
There's plenty of places to outsource great content.
Gotcha. Okay. And you mentioned earlier about local listings. Is that different from like the local pages? Like,
What do you mean?
you know how like when you search and it shows up with the map and like your address.
Yeah, I think back when I first started, that was called Google Places.
Yeah. Google Places. Yeah.
And I think now it's just called like Google Local Business or something like that. Like they changed the name of it, but it's pretty much still the same thing. So that would be one thing for someone to set up for sure, is to set up a Google business listing.
Right. Now there's no content needed to set that
No,
up, right?
no,
Okay.
no. You put your website link in, your phone number. It's good to add pictures and make your whole listing profile complete. So that would be definitely a first thing. The second thing that is a lot of people don't know about, that's more of a kind of, I guess, a ninja tactic, but people probably just don't think about. I mean, I think when people, they're like, oh, I want to start a business and get it online, or I'm a real estate investor, I want to get a website up. They think they can just get a website up on like GoDaddy or something, and that's it. But as you probably know, there's a lot more involved than just putting up a website.
Right.
There's backlinks and things like that, links coming in from other websites. There's a social media signals where people, the search engines see that you're on Facebook and Twitter and all these things. And so with that is something called citations that a lot of people overlook. And you can pay certain companies and they can do these local citations for you. And all they're doing is making sure that your business listing and content, meaning your business name, your phone number, your email, your website, are congruent and in a lot of different places across the net. So they're on places like Yelp, like Zillow, like YouTube. And those are all specific citations. And so you could do that right off the bat and really solidify some good, like a good foundation for starting to build out your online presence.
Okay, that's awesome. All right. So if someone is not tech savvy to get this going, is there existing websites out there that you have found, like existing solutions out there? Have you found that are very SEO friendly, that is easy for us to modify contents and post and get good results in the search engine?
Sure. I mean, I have a website where I actually help people with this.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Real Estate Visionaries, realestatevisionaries.com. You can go there and learn about content creation, learn about how to structure your content on your website so it's SEO friendly, search engine friendly, tips on how to do backlinks, keywords that motivated sellers and cash buyers are looking for. Plus, I give a lot of great resources there as far as the systems and programs that I personally use to achieve the results that I've achieved.
Right. That's awesome.
So it's like, I've used them all before. I mean, I've used RealFlow and FreedomSoft and all these other programs, and now Investor Carrot. Like, there's a whole host of them. So much that'll make your head spin. But if you can tap into resources like yourself or myself, an investor who's having success, say with the online side of it, the best way to become successful is to model other people who've done what you want to do for you, right?
Right.
Tap into a proven method.
Right.
And so that's what I try to do on that website, realestatevisionaries.com, is kind of show people exactly what I do and how I do it, and then they can go in and just kind of replicate the process.
Right. That's awesome. So, with the competitive marketplace it is now, right, in most area, can you depend on SEO alone to, is it enough to have a substantial business out of just SEO, or do you also have to do pay ads as well, pay per clicks and stuff?
So I would say this. I would say things are always change, right, or constantly changing. Direct mail, I mean, it's saturated. I mean, there's a lot of people sending out direct mail. But like that, there's an ebb and flow to that. When I was getting started in this, everyone was doing direct mail. It seemed like every seller that I spoke to had a stack of letters or postcards on their table.
It's even
right?
worse now.
Yeah, right. And then that kind of quieted down, and now it seems like that's happening again.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you really need to set yourself apart first and foremost. And I think having a strong online and SEO presence can totally make that happen. But at the end of the day, what's the worst number in business?
0 or 1, actually. One of anything, right? Yeah.
Because if that one thing goes away, you're left with 0.
Right.
So I think if you can always diversify your marketing and have a few different channels that you're really good at, or that you can be somewhat good at, and have someone else come in who's really good at it.
Yeah.
And stick with that. I think that's the way to go. So today there's you can do direct mail, you can do SEO, you can still do bandit signs, you could do Google AdWords. Over the last 6 months or so, Facebook has gotten kind of popular for definitely generating cash buyers, and people are starting to generate motivated seller leads now too. So
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, awesome. Any other tips or that someone should consider in doing this? Or maybe someone says, hey, even though it sounds easy, but it's not my area expertise, I don't know, how would you recommend them to find someone who will do it, all this SEO stuff for them, but actually works and doesn't charge them an arm and a leg, right? At one point, I had an SEO guy to do it for my website. He was charging me like $4,800 a month. And that's a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, and so it's like, man, if, I have to get deals in every month from it, otherwise it makes no sense. So how would you, recommend someone if they said, no, I don't want to do this myself? Like, how should they look for the kind of person that would be able to get this job done, fairly inexpensively, or, just fair?
Yeah. So there's a couple key points on that. Like before, to your point with SEO and can anyone do this in any market? I would say yes, right? But I also would think that just like any other marketing modality, like direct mail, it all depends on the competition in your marketplace, right? So the more competition there are, the more a lot of your competition are going to be doing these different things. So to get started, I'm a big believer you need to know a little bit about everything before you can actually tell someone else how to do it.
Gotcha.
So you can kind of pay attention to it and make sure they're doing it correctly. So I would tell your audience to learn a little bit about SEO, like learn the basics. And that'll boil down to really quality content built around keywords or keyword phrases, and then link building. And so learn the basics of those, like 3 things. And then once you know the basics and proper formatting, say on a particular page or a post, then you can look at like Elance or Fiverr or Odesk. I think Odesk has changed their name recently.
Right. Upwork.
And then, like Facebook is a powerful tool. So if you're maybe joining other groups of investors that are on Facebook, you could ask your audience, your sphere, hey, do you know any reputable SEO companies, or who's worked with an SEO company and as a real estate investor before? What was your success, with them? How'd they do for you? Were they inexpensive? Would you recommend them? And then, you could also Google some sources too. I mean, there's a lot of great sources out there as far as SEO. I think the most complicated thing about SEO is the backlinking part.
I see. Is that still very important in today's war?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. And your audience might not even know what that is, but backlinking is basically links from other websites or Web 2.0 properties, we call it, or social media sites that have a piece of content on their sites. And in that content, there's links, text-based links that point back to your website, right? To link to your website. And so the more you have of those from other sites, the better it is. But the key thing there is you want to make sure that those sites are relevant to your niche, which would be real estate or maybe business or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's still very relevant. And even like backlink, I mean, just YouTube is another great resource today for investors. I mean, video is huge right now.
Right.
So as a newer investor, I would, if you're going out on to look at properties or go out on an interview, shoot a short video of content and put that on YouTube. And then you could, in your description, put in where you are, what you're doing, and throw the link to your website in there. You know, that's a backlink.
Right. Right. Okay. So in terms of, in terms of the competition, when a homeowner goes on your website, submit the information, are they submitting to, say, 5 other websites as well? 10? I mean, when you go on these appointments, how competitive has it been for you?
Not very competitive at all. Just not to say that I don't get seller calls and they're like, I already have an offer on the table. I'm looking for a second. Or sometimes I ask, have you spoken to any other investors? And they're like, no. So that leaves an opening for me to kind of seal the deal. So yeah, I haven't found that that's the case because I think I've been so successful at this that I'm actually generating a lot of leads that most of my competition will never even know about.
Interesting.
Because I've positioned myself so strongly and repetitively all over the internet. I was mentioning to you before we started the recording. I mean, We Buy Houses New York, Sell My House Fast New York, everywhere in between Albany and Long Island. I'm ranking on the first page once, twice, sometimes 3 or 4 times. And so that generates a lot of visitors to my website. And it's just a numbers game at that point.
Right. That's awesome. Okay.
So I would say back to your point is, when you do get a lead, time is of the essence. I mean, the sooner you can get a hold of that lead, pre-qualify that lead, go out on the appointment is huge. And then the other huge part is, so that's speed to the deal. The other huge part is actually being credible and acting like you care. And so that's rapport building, making sure that they like you. People do business who they like, know, and trust.
Right.
So let them like, know, and trust you. And I think if you take that position, it's another way to stand out from the crowd.
Right.
Because most people in this business who are getting into it, like other wholesalers and things like that, I get calls once a week from them, and they sound like robots. And there's no personality to it. There's nothing that tells me that stands out and says, I want to work with them.
Right.
So figure that out.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds to me, and I don't know if you're currently doing this or not, but, with you having all these organic listings already, if you also supplement that with pay-per-click, does that also help your listings on both sides, or at least helps your listing on pay-per-click to allow you to get more leads?
Well, studies show that there's no correlation. And
okay.
even Google's come out, some of their spokespeople, I can't remember the one guy that's always out there talking about algorithm changes and everything else, but he says that there's no correlation between what you're paying paid traffic to your site and organic traffic as far as them helping each other out.
I see.
Or one helping, but then there's other people that say, it can help. It's just not really a known quantity as far as, measurable result.
I see.
Yeah.
In your business, do you do any pay-per-click, or is it strictly
I do.
SEO?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's supplemental, so I don't spend a lot, anywhere about $500 to $1,000 a month.
Okay, not bad.
on top of the SEO. And then recently, actually just this past week, I started dabbling around with Facebook.
Facebook ads, yeah, gotcha.
So,
If someone's starting their website new, and let's say I'm here in Houston, let's say I want to compete with the We Buy Houses Houston, right? How fast can is it something that can be done within, say, 30 days, 60 days, 6 months? Like, how long would I be on the first page at least?
yeah, so this is a long-term play, right? A long-term strategy. So, which helps sustainability, right? I mean, it's something that you can lay the groundwork for now, and be consistent with it. So, publish content every day, and work on this every day, and over time you'll start to see that result. That's the tough thing about SEO is it's a moving target. It's measurable to a certain extent, but then it's not because you don't know what your competition's doing.
Right.
Google could change the way they rank pages tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And it changes everything. So knowing your competition, see how many people are on, go to Google and type in We Buy Houses Houston,
Right.
Sell My House Fast Texas, and see who pops up. And there's a lot of tools out there. I mean, I don't know any of it like the top of my head, but you can plug in your competitors' websites and see, why they're ranking and kind of backlinks that they have and things like that. So it's a long-term process. Can you see fast results? 100%. For some of the smaller towns and areas that I went to rank for, there was hardly any competition. So I could rank literally like within 24 hours. Like We Buy Houses New York, it took me a better part of a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To finally rank number one for that term.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for sharing with us a lot of information here. I know SEO. It's intimidating for me in the sense of I don't know much about it, and so I'm sure it's intimidating for a lot of people as well. So just really thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah. Tim, I would say this one thing. I mean, again, back to it's all about knowing who you are and being different in the marketplace.
Right.
And so this was my lane. Right? I knew what my lane was, and I rolled with it. And I went with it. And so I would recommend that to anyone else is, just find out who you are, know your lane, stick with that, but just diversify the marketing that you're doing.
Awesome.
Just don't do one thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
And whatever you can do, stand out.
Great. Yeah. So, the viewers, listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, what do you want to send them?
They can go to realestatevisionaries.com, and you can also send me an email as well at that same address, but dave@realestatevisionaries.com, and you can find me on Facebook too.
Awesome. Yeah, so there you have it, folks. You want to reach out to Dave, learn from him, learn about SEO, do some deals with him. Whatever you want to, do, make sure you reach out to him. Dave, thank you so much, buddy, for this awesome interview. I appreciate you greatly.
Yeah, Tim, I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to chatting and seeing you again.
Awesome, definitely. All right, everyone. If you like this interview, if you got value out of it like I have, make sure you leave us a comment, give us some feedback, share it with your friends. And with that, happy investing, and we'll see you on the next interview.
And that's our show for today. If you have any questions or would like to get further training from Tim Mai, please visit our website at www.dodeals.com/Tim.